In a small, quiet town nestled in the heart of the forest, there stood an old, decrepit mansion known as Hollow House. The townsfolk spoke of it in hushed tones, for it was said to be cursed. Haunted by a malevolent spirit, many had entered its doors, but none had ever emerged the same. One gloomy autumn evening, a group of adventurous friends decided to spend the night in Hollow House. Daring each other to confront the legends, Sarah, the bravest of the group, led the way. She was known for her unwavering skepticism, scoffing at the notion of the supernatural. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the overgrown garden, they approached the mansion. The creaking gate swung open on their own, a sinister welcome. Sarah laughed, brushing it off as the wind's trickery. Inside, the air grew icy, and the atmosphere weighed heavily on their shoulders. The walls of the mansion bore ancient, tattered wallpaper, and the floors creaked beneath their every step. They ventured deeper into the darkness, guided only by flickering candlelight. Suddenly, Sarah felt a hand brush against her shoulder. She jumped, but her friends swore they hadn't touched her. Her skepticism wavered, but she dismissed it as a trick of the imagination. As the night wore on, the friends heard whispers in the walls and shadows that danced ominously in the corners of their vision. Each step forward felt like a step deeper into madness. Their flashlights flickered and died, leaving them in utter darkness. Sarah felt a searing coldness wrap around her, squeezing the breath from her lungs. Panic set in as she realized her friends were nowhere to be found. She called out to them, but her voice echoed through empty halls. Desperate and trembling, Sarah stumbled upon an old, dusty mirror. Her reflection was not her own. Instead, it was a grotesque, twisted version of herself, eyes black as coal, grinning menacingly. She screamed, but the mirror's glass swallowed her, leaving behind nothing but an empty room. The next morning, the townsfolk discovered the mansion empty, its gates swinging eerily in the wind. They spoke in hushed tones of Sarah and her friends, who were never seen again. Hollow House, it seemed, had claimed yet another victim. Years passed, and Hollow House became an even darker legend in the town. Its windows were shattered, its garden overgrown, and its reputation more terrifying than ever. The townsfolk avoided the place like the plague, believing that evil itself dwelled within its rotting walls. One fateful night, a group of paranormal investigators arrived in town, drawn by the tales of Hollow House. They were determined to uncover the truth behind the haunted mansion, armed with cameras, EVP recorders, and their unyielding curiosity. As they ventured into the decrepit mansion, their footsteps echoing through the eerie silence, they sensed a malevolent presence watching them. The air grew heavy, and strange sounds echoed from the depths of the house. The investigators exchanged uneasy glances, but pressed on. In the very room where Sarah had vanished, they set up their equipment. The temperature dropped drastically, and their breaths formed icy clouds in the air. An EVP recorder captured a spine-chilling voice whispering unintelligible words, and their cameras picked up shadowy figures that seemed to dance along the walls. One investigator, Alex, couldn't resist the urge to confront the malevolent force. Alone, he ventured into the mansion's basement, where the darkness was nearly suffocating. In the dim glow of his flashlight, he discovered a hidden chamber, its walls adorned with bizarre symbols and sinister paintings. Suddenly, the basement door slammed shut behind him, and he was plunged into pitch-black darkness. Panic set in as he fumbled for his flashlight. When he finally managed to turn it on, he gasped in horror at what he saw. The walls of the chamber were covered in blood-red symbols that seemed to writhe and pulse with a life of their own. The paintings depicted grotesque scenes of violence and torment, and at the center of the chamber, a pentagram glowed ominously. as Alex attempted to flee. A bone-chilling laughter echoed through the chamber, and invisible hands grabbed at him, pulling him toward the pentagram. Desperation gripped him as he realized the malevolent force of Hollow House was very real, and it hungered for his soul. Back in the main room, the other investigators heard Alex's screams and rushed to the basement. But when they finally forced the door open, they found only an empty chamber. Devoid of any symbols or paintings, Alex had vanished without a trace. The investigators fled Hollow House, shaken to their core. They left behind their equipment and their belief in the rational world. Forever scarred by the horrors they had witnessed, Hollow House, it seemed, would forever hold its secrets, and those who dared to enter would be at the mercy of the malevolent force that dwelled within its cursed walls. The paranormal investigators' terrifying ordeal at Hollow House sent shockwaves through the town. Their accounts of the malevolent force and the disappearance of Alex were met with skepticism by some, but the fear that emanated from the mansion was undeniable. Hollow House's dark legend continued to grow, and it became a place no one dared approach.